Hi, welcome to the Red Kite New Starter training. This one's going to be off the cuff type of presentation. So no fancy graphics or animations or anything this time around. The reason for that is that we're going to need to redo this in a few months' time when we launch the Lightning Experience version of Salesforce. So everything's going to look a bit different. But I'll go into what Lightning is at the end of this presentation and give you a bit of a sneak peek. But for now, let's push on. Firstly, welcome. Yeah, everyone here is very passionate about what they do, and we're committed to helping families through their cancer journey, which is what we're all about. Firstly, the agenda. Okay, so what is Salesforce? Salesforce is a software as a service, so I'll go into defining that. But then I'll cover just some how-tos on general Salesforce, searching, tabs, home pages, list views, using apps to get around, the difference between record details and related lists, tasks, reports, dashboards, knowledge, and Salesforce Chatter. But also a few things to get you a few more skills in Salesforce if you wanted to learn more. Trailhead is the best way to do that, but also a bit of a sneak peek into Lightning Experience, and just some general tips and tricks on how to save time and work more efficiently with fewer clicks. Okay, so software as a service. Salesforce is software, but it's also a platform. So it allows you to customize your own solutions, write your own code. You can download apps from the App Exchange, where developers write these apps specifically for Salesforce, and you can just plug them in. All the Salesforce customers, they all share this same platform, so they can all leverage the power of the platform, the standard objects that you're given out of the box, the standard functionality, but you can also build your own functionality. So it's kind of like living in an apartment. So you're sharing things like power and water and building maintenance. The Strata takes care of all of that. So you don't have to organize your own gardener, for example. That's all taken care of. It's similar to the way Salesforce does things. So they look after security and access and make sure everything's running. So each company doesn't have to have their own security or IT specialists on staff. They can do that by leveraging the power of the platform. You can also customize your own space, so you can change the way it's all structured, what behavior happens when you click on certain things. You can really customize it, which is why it's so popular. As I was saying, it is a platform, so you can install some of these other apps like Financial Force, Social Suite, Cause I Can. They're all examples of things that have been created by developers specifically for the Salesforce platform. We've plugged them into ours to do certain things and give us extra functionality. Chatter is something that belongs to Salesforce out of the box. It's kind of like a Facebook type thing for Salesforce, but I'll get into that in a second. The key takeaway here is that it's really customizable, and it's an open source type of platform as well. So anybody can develop something for it, and any organization can customize it quite heavily. So the first thing that you'll notice when you look at any Salesforce record is that it's divided into two sections. So you've got details and related lists. So the first thing when you click on any record, up the top is you'll see the details section. Details section is where you have the details about that particular record. So this is a view of my contact record, and you'll see that there it has my birth date, my address, phone number, everything about me. So that's at the top of any record. So it can be contact records, account records. You always have to scroll past the detail section to get to the related lists. Related lists where you can see all of the records that are linked to that particular record. So if I had a constituent code on my contact record, it would live here. If I had an income related to my contact record, it would live here. Campaigns that I've been involved in, incomes that I've given, opportunities that I've done as a fundraiser, opportunities that I've created as a donor, they all would live in my related list because they're related to me. There's two ways to get to the related lists. They're stacked one on top of each other. So details at this top and related list under that. So you can scroll using the scroll wheel or the scroll bar all the way down. If you don't like scrolling though, across the top of the record, you'll see just here are all these hover links. So if you just mouse over any of these hover links, you'll see that the related list itself pops up. You can add new records to that related list by hovering over the hover link, or you can scroll down if you prefer to do it that way. Some people find this a bit easier, certainly less scrolling. So to find records in Salesforce, the first thing you do is to use the global search bar, which is this thing here. Global search bar, it will search all of the records that you normally search, but will only search all of the records in Salesforce if you tell it to. I'll get into that in a second, but the global search bar, it will look for an exact match of anything that you've typed in there, but it will also look for pretty close matches, a fuzzy match. So if you search for John Smythe and there's no John Smythes in there, but there's someone that's spelt quite similar, then it'll come up with that. It'll actually come back with a close spelling if it can't find what you've actually typed in. But if you're not quite sure how someone's last name ends, for example, say if you are searching for John Smythe, but you're not sure if it's S-M-Y-T-H or S-M-I-T-H-E, you can actually just put S-M and then an asterisk, and then that searches for anything. So that'll search John Smith, John Smythe, spelled any way you like, or John, anything that starts with S-M. So any amount of characters, and if you're not quite sure how to spell someone's name, that's a good way to bring them up still. But as I was saying, it will only search all of the records in Salesforce if you actually tell it to. What it defaults to is that it will normally just default to the types of tabs or objects that you clicked on before. So if you're searching for a purchase order, for example, but you've never clicked on purchase orders before, you've had no reason to click on purchase orders, but you know that record's in there and you want to search for a particular one, it's not going to come up. The reason for that is that it tries to reduce the load on the server. So when you type in a search, it will send it off through your web browser to the Salesforce servers. If you're searching the entirety of our Salesforce instance, every time you make a search, that creates extra load on their servers. So they only search the tabs that you've been into recently. So the way to get around that is to click Search All. There's on the left-hand side, you'll see all the objects that have got results. And then down the bottom, you have a Search All, but also in the actual search results, there's a big blue button as well. If you know a record's there, but you can't find it, click Search All. The homepage, generally where you land when you first start Salesforce, it's kind of like a summary. So all of your tasks, things to approve, they all live there if you're an approver of records. Managers generally are the only people who approve records, but if you're entering tasks into Salesforce, it'll show you your overdue or upcoming tasks. It also has a feed, so it'll give you basically a repeat of what's in the chatter tab. I don't need two tabs that tell me the same thing, so I always click hide feed, and that'll shrink that up so you're really only just focusing on your tasks and the things that you need to see on your homepage. Yeah, you can see the feed there. You've got the dashboard. Dashboard section will show you the charts or the widgets from the last dashboard that you viewed. I'll go into dashboards in a second. And my tasks will show you all the tasks that are either upcoming or outstanding. But there's a section there you can choose to choose ones from today only, overdue only, today and overdue. There's a bunch of options you can choose there on your homepage. So if you've got items to approve, they'll also appear there. And you can manage them straight from your homepage. If you want to put events into Salesforce, you can do that as well. And there's a way to actually match them up with the Google Calendar, but that's on your homepage too. Okay, so tabs and apps. A tab, these are your tabs across here. The actual tabs that you see depends on which app you're in. So an app is a collection of tabs that allows you to access everything that you need for a certain job role. So if you're using the system admin, one of which only system admins can see, then we see a whole bunch of different tabs to what, say, financial assistance or to what fundraising see. They have an app that's for them that collects all of their tabs into one place, but you can also customize it. But if you're looking for a certain collection of tabs and it looks completely different for some reason, that's probably because you're in a different app. Just go up to the top right and you click on this is your app chooser. And then you can choose the app and that will set your tabs for you. But each person does get to customize their own tabs. And if you find that you are using a particular tab that's not in your nav bar, in your tab list across the top, then you can click on the plus and pick it from a list. Or if you really want to add it there permanently, you can click on Customize My Tabs, and then that will allow you to change the order of the tabs, which appear left to right, take some out, put some in, and customize it yourself. So once you've clicked on the Customize My Tabs, so you click the plus, and then on the next screen you click Customize My Tabs, then you'll be given a list. These are all the available tabs, and these are all the ones that are currently on your app. So if you wanted to get rid of one, you'd click it here, and then click the arrow to move it back into the available tabs list. If there's one on the available list that you want to choose as in the selected tabs, click it, click the arrow to bring it over here, and then hit save. So the ones at the top, they're going to display on the furthest left, and the ones on the bottom are going to be on the furthest right. And you can change them. So you click on one and change it by clicking up and down arrows to determine where it is on the left to right across your nav bar. So dashboards. Dashboards are the best way to see a bunch of information in one place. So generally all the information is related to one topic. Dashboards always need to be refreshed, so it's like a snapshot of how the data was at that point. It'll give you the last time that it was refreshed across the top, right next to the refresh button. But to see the data as it is now, you'll need to refresh it every time. Behind each one of these charts lies a report. If you wanted to see the details of the report, just click on the actual widget or chart, and if you have access to it, it'll take you through to the report that powers that. So this is the section on tasks, emails, and events. In Salesforce, tasks, events, and emails are all collectively known as activities. A task is a to-do item for a future date, so it's a reminder. You can set it to come up with a pop-up reminder at a particular time if you want to, or you can just manage it, say, through your homepage. Events, meetings, or appointments, you can manage those in Salesforce, or you can manage those in Google. You can also copy between them using the Lightning for Gmail app, or it's the Chrome extension, I should say. And emails is a record of an email sent through Salesforce. So it's either something that you've chosen and sent through Salesforce, through a Salesforce template, for example, or it's something that you've logged via the Lightning for Gmail Chrome extension. Anything that is a closed task or an event that you've closed off and is in the past, an email that's been sent, a call that's been logged, all of those things will appear in the activity history. So open activities are ones that are still open, still pending, like a task that hasn't been completed or set as complete yet, whereas anything that's logged, that's now closed and in the past, that'll all live in the activity history. So to create a task, you can say go to the object that you wanted to create a task on. If you've got a task about closing a particular opportunity, you need to call them back to see if they're going to be paying. Create the task on the opportunity. If it's a task to contact a person just to follow up, just some relationship management type stuff that's not related to any particular opportunity, then you can create that on the contact. It's really a matter of what you're doing as to where you would record the task, but they all show up on your homepage, so you can kind of manage them from there. When you're on the contact or on this object that you want to set a task to remind you to follow up on, just hit New Task, and then you'll be presented with this screen here. There's a few different ways to create tasks. You can create a one task, or you can create a recurring series of tasks. Basically, it's something that you can sort of choose to be reminded about a particular record, go back straight to that record, fill in the details of the task that you've completed, what the results were, and then hit save. If you do need to be creating a task maybe every week or every month to call this particular person back or to send them an email, for example, then you can create a recurring series of tasks. And it's quite flexible, so you can set it to be on the first day of the month or the first day of the week or Wednesdays and Thursdays every second week. Just choose through the options, and it's pretty flexible to actually allow you to set a recurring series of tasks any way you want. Okay, so Chatter. Chatter is kind of like Facebook for Salesforce. So it's a good way to reduce the emails. I'm not sure if you've ever seen companies where there'll be, for example, congratulatory emails that come around at the end of the month or something like that. Someone got married and there'll be 1,000 reply all saying congratulations. It's still great to be able to share that, but not everybody wants 1,000 emails in their inbox about that kind of thing every time it happens. So that's what chat is for. It reduces emails. It keeps your email inbox sort of related back straight to business functions, but it still allows you to share all those great things. You can like things, you can share links. There are groups that you can join. There's a pet lovers group. There's a binge watchers group. If you want to talk about TV, you just join the groups, or you can even create the groups that you want to chat about the things that you find fun and interesting, and then keep the email strictly for business. It's pretty similar to using Facebook. Choose the group. So if you wanted to send it to all of Redkite, for example, you'd change it from my followers to a group here. Type your message out. You can use @mentions. Then select the members if you want particular people, and then hit share. You can also set up your chatter profile, which is something we recommend that everybody does when they first start. That way people can look up your user profile in Salesforce and get a brief bio about you. So you click on the chatter tab and then click on your name or profile picture. Click on the overview tab and then just add a blurb and hit save. So you can also attach files and tag colleagues if you want to notify or mention them in a post. You can just use the @ symbol before their name and they'll be notified by email if they've got those settings allowed. You can change the settings of when you receive the emails. Again, not everybody likes to be notified when they've been mentioned on Chatter. They just prefer to get a daily summary, maybe a weekly summary, and you can set it to that as well if you like. But you can ask a question, you can set up a poll, link to a particular web page if you want to do that, and notify people as you go, change your audience, and even express thanks. So now list views. List views, we're going to spend a little while on this because it is quite powerful. It allows you to kind of run a mini report. So it restricts any particular tab so that you see only the records that you want to see. It is a very powerful way to organize the records in Salesforce. And if you can create a few list views, then it'll really save you some time. You choose the fields, you choose their order, selection criteria, but you will still only see the records that you have access to. So this is on any tab, you'll see that there's a view section here, and all of these views are customizable, and you can create your own. So we'll go into that in a bit more detail now. To create a new list view, my circle's off a bit there, but you just go to any tab. So pretty much rule of thumb, if it has a tab, you can make a list view. Go to your tab that you want to make a list view about, and then click Create New. Then you'll come to this screen, give it a name. So you just give it any name that you will remember what it's for. And then you can set your filters. So this is where the magic happens. State province equals New South Wales. That's telling Salesforce, if the state or province equals New South Wales, then show me those records. Filter 2 here, donation amount this financial year greater than 1,000. If the donation amount this financial year is greater than 1,000, show me the record. If you have more than one filter, so say for example we have these two filters here, number 1 and number 2, by default Salesforce will look for all of the filters to be true unless you tell it otherwise. So if we have these two filters, 1 and 2, it will only show me the records where the state province equals New South Wales and the donation amount this financial year is greater than 1,000. But we've got a couple of extra filters here as well. So all of these filters will now need to be true. So it's this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. It's only if all 4 are true that it will show up in this particular list, unless you tell it otherwise. And this is how you tell it otherwise. This is filter logic. So you basically, just in normal sentences, fairly normal sentences, you can tell it this one and this one, or this one. So it's pretty much and or. And you're giving it a logical statement that it's going to then follow and choose those filters depending on the logic that you give it. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult. So I'm happy to make any more advanced list views if you want. Just want the list view and don't want to bother with sort of creating your own filter logic. We can do that. But if you are interested, this is how it goes. Filters plus filter logic allow you to create lists that contain the information you want and nothing else. So say this first example here. First of all, it will look at the things inside the brackets. So it'll look at this. Anything that shows up on the list will have to be 1 and 2 and 3 or 4. So all of these 3 conditions or that one condition. Anything from 4 or only these 3 things or anything with that. Hopefully that makes sense. If there's anything that you want to make and you can't quite get it to work, shoot it through to the red team or to the Salesforce team, CRM team, and we can get that done for you. No worries. Once you've created your list views, then you get to choose the columns that appear in your list view. So if you're looking for clients in New South Wales who have given over $1,000 and have the job title of CEO, then you may want to see what their phone number is, or what their email address is, or when the last time their record was modified. Anything from this list, you can move over here and it will become a column in your list of records. So again, left of screen is at the top and right of screen is at the bottom, and you can change the order. And the last thing is just the visibility. Not everybody will have this option. Some users with more permissions have this option to make it visible to everybody or just to me, but most people will have it restricted so that it's visible just to them. This is just a sort of general productivity tip. On the left-hand side, you'll see what they call a caret or a little triangle. Those triangles, if they're pointing down, means that's an expanded section. If they're pointing to the right, then that's a compressed section. All of these sections in the details page, the details part of the record, you can expand them or delete them. You can expand them or collapse them. If you don't need what's in a particular section, so volunteer information, if you never need to know that at all, you can always just collapse it or compress it and you won't need to see it. It means there's less clutter on the page, it's faster to scroll, and just less stuff to see. But bear in mind that if it's a collapsed section, then if you're trying to find something on the page, then it can make it a little bit harder to find it because it's collapsed. And if you're doing Control F to find it on the page, then obviously it won't come up. So Salesforce Knowledge. Salesforce Knowledge is a knowledge base that we have built into Salesforce. So it's where we're trying to get all of our processes to live. If something's a commonly accessed document, like the delegation of authority document, or maybe a credit card claim form, we're trying to put those on Salesforce Knowledge as well. That way you don't have to dig through our drive to find your particular document. Plus it can give us one source of truth as well. So you might have 3 different versions on our drive and you're not quite sure which one is draft or which one is the most recent one. If it's on Knowledge, you can be sure that it is the one source of truth. It is the most recent version. If it's not, please let someone know and we'll get it updated. That's supposed to be the one place where we can really be sure of getting that one source of truth. But it is pretty flexible as well. So it allows you to embed videos. You can put in links. You can put attachments. Salesforce Knowledge will search any of the attachments for any keywords. We can set keywords. So if you're searching for something and you think it should come up with a certain keyword, but it doesn't, let us know and we can actually change the keywords that bring up certain knowledge articles. But again, what I was saying before about the global search, the first time that you go to search for Salesforce Knowledge articles, they will not appear. That's something that I'd love to be able to get around, but we cannot. So you do need to click Search All if you're searching for knowledge articles. Or just go to the plus icon to get the All tabs view, and it'll be on there, and you can go directly to it and search knowledge articles that way. Then going forward, it should come up through the global search bar without having to click Search All. But again, if you don't find it, click Search All. And yeah, if there's something on there that you think should be, or something that's not on there that you think should be on there, then let the Salesforce team know, or let the TC in your state know, and they can add it. So Trailhead is a website that's made by Salesforce. So it's their own training site. And it really does contain pretty much everything that you need to go from a beginner to an advanced Salesforce user, or even an advanced Salesforce administrator. It has modules, it has trails, it has badges, super badges, everything to do with being a developer or an admin for Salesforce, but also a business user. So if you wanted to know how to understand contacts and accounts better, then there's a trail for that. You do get badges, and the progress that you make towards all of these badges can move with you in between organizations. So if you're working for Redkite and you earn 20 badges on Salesforce Trailhead, then when you go to a new company, if they use Trailhead, or sorry, if they use Salesforce as well, you can actually log into the same, use the same credentials and actually swap over that progress that you've made to your new Salesforce credentials. So you don't need to start again every time you change a company. If they're using Salesforce, you can put it on your resume. I've got 25 badges in Trailhead, and that's something that they're going to look at quite kindly, I think. You can watch the YouTube tutorial videos or read process docs for info regarding processes specific to Redkite. Trailhead is not specific to Redkite. There is a plan to make it specific to Redkite, but at the moment it is fairly general. So they have information on accounts, contacts, how to use the technical things, but they also do some soft skills such as public speaking, or sort of how to use Agile / Scrum / Kanban project management methodologies, sales tips, even healthy eating and sleep tips. So there's lots of stuff to learn on there. What you do is you just go to Trailhead, and you will get a link to this when every new starter starts. They will receive an automated email from our Salesforce instance, from the CRM team, that gives you a link to a trail mix. Trail mix is a mixture of modules that I've put together that basically is a good way to start. Gives you an introduction to Trailhead, gives you an introduction to Salesforce. Go to trailhead.com, click login with your normal Salesforce credentials, and then you're away. You can start on whatever trail you like, whatever module you like. A good place to start, I think, is just with the trail mix that was emailed to you when you first started. So it should be one of the first emails that you ever received in your Redkite account. That'll be there, give you a link, and away you go. Log in with Salesforce. Progress travels with you, as I was saying. There are modules you can choose here, whether you're an admin, business user, developer. So most people would be business users, and just start with beginner. You can also choose to learn particular products or about particular topics. Some starter badges. Trailhead Basics is a great one to start with. Reports and dashboards. That's a little bit more complex. It takes over an hour or so to do that one particular badge. But once you've done it, then you're going to be pretty much a reports expert. Last time I checked, there was over 600 different badges you could get. Okay, so this is a peek into Lightning Experience. In this year, probably within the next 6 to 12 months, we're planning on starting the rollout of Lightning Experience. So going from the other view to this view, it's a much nicer, cleaner view. It allows you to do way more things, much more customizable. This is Salesforce for the 21st century. So it's based on the latest web technology, the web standards. So it allows you to do a lot more. It does look very, very nice as well compared to the previous one. And one of the main things you'll see is that instead of having a vertically organized page where you've got the details section and the related lists under that, you actually have related lists as a tab. So you can just switch between details and related list tabs, and you can even have activity. All of this is customizable. All of this stuff up the top here is like a highlights panel. You can customize what's in there. You can customize the buttons across here. You can bring that activity over here, make it a tab, customize all the tabs and what you see, and you're just basically swapping between tabs instead of constantly vertically scrolling. So this is an example of what an opportunity record would look like. When an opportunity progresses from one stage to the next, instead of having to go in, edit the record, change the pick list to the next stage and then hit save again, there's a button here and you just click, yeah, done. And then it'll tick that stage. And every time you go through a stage, you can just click a button and it'll go through all of the stages until you get to closed one. You've got your highlights panel, you've got your tabs here, and all of your related lists can live over here. It's pretty cool. The nav bar up here is very customizable. So in Lightning Experience, you can actually go to one of these drop downs and say I was looking at a particular list view in my contacts tab. I can actually go straight to that. So instead of clicking contacts and then have it go to the default one, which is the recently viewed contacts, I can actually go directly to a particular related list. If I go to that related list all the time, I can pin it so that it goes there by default. I can even pin particular records to my nav bar. So if I go to a particular record every day and I don't want to have to navigate through it or search for it, I can just have it pinned here to my nav bar. If I'm going to a particular report, I can pin that. It really allows for some very easy customizations that can really affect your day and how much clicking you need to do. So this thing is probably my pet peeve. I'm not sure if they're doing it anymore, but if you do see this ad, it is an ad. So it's an ad for Salesforce within Salesforce. It's an ad about the Salesforce mobile app, which if you're out on the road is great. Get it, download it, install it, have a play around. But what we don't need is to be able to see an ad for it all the time. So you can close that and reclaim like an inch of extra screen space, which I always do. Now, a bit hard to have questions from a video. This one isn't interactive, but if you do have any questions, just email them to red@redkite, or very soon we're going to have the CRM tickets system up and running as well. So instead of sending an email through to one of the admins or to the red@redkite email address, you can create a CRM tickets record, and that'll be pretty much the same as emailing the red team or the CRM team, except that it allows us to do reports on them, see how long it takes us to close tickets, who's sending most tickets, from which team, maybe they need some more training, little things like that. But there'll be training on that as well. All right. So thanks for watching. And yeah, again, let us know if you have any questions.